Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon. Today, I'd like to review what happened over the weekend and talk about our path forward. The severe weather that hit our region this weekend had a devastating impact in St. Louis County, especially in North St. Louis County. Our neighborhoods really haven't seen anything like this since the Good Friday storms in 2011. And I really want to stress the importance of reporting damage. The best way to report that is to call 211. It's really important that we have a good accounting and we can catalog all of the devastation in our community. And that's really important to meet federal guidelines for assistance. The ferocity of this storm really demanded that we take decisive action. And so on Friday night, when the fires were sparked by downed electrical lines, when the tornadoes were whipping through St. Louis County, I declared a state of emergency in St. Louis County to make sure that we can access the necessary resources that we need effectively and urgently. On Friday night, I also spoke to Governor Mike Kehoe, who offered the resources from the Missouri Department of Transportation and from the Missouri Highway Patrol, and we're grateful to have that help from Governor Kehoe. On Friday night, I personally visited some of the impacted areas in North County and witnessed firsthand the damage of the tornadoes as they swept through some of our North County municipalities and unincorporated St. Louis County. I met with some of the mayors Friday night and have maintained contact with the mayors in the most impacted areas to make sure that we are coordinating our resources. Our priority remains the safety and health of our residents. So on Saturday, we stood up an emergency shelter in partnership with the Red Cross at the North County Recreation Complex. And this is primarily to support the residents who were displaced by the storms. And then on Sunday and Monday, damage assessments were conducted in the area by the State Emergency Management Agency. And these assessments are really crucial to understanding the full impact of the storms and really provide direction for us in our recovery strategies. But now that the emergency is passed, we're focused on the recovery, and that's what we're going to be talking about for the coming days and weeks. And we're committed in St. Louis County to providing the necessary resources and support. For residents who need help with tree removal, tarping, or debris, we ask that you call the Crisis Cleanup Line, and that is 844-965-1386, 844-965-1386. We have volunteers from local organizations who are ready to help you at no cost. Unfortunately, after any natural disaster, there are bad actors who will prey on residents who are trying to recover. Our Chief of Police in St. Louis County, Chief Kenneth Gregory, is here today to talk about some of those scams and how you can protect yourself.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to give condolences from our department for the loss of life that we had up in North County during the storms. I also want to commend our first responders, police, fire, paramedics, who all acted diligently in handling the storm on Friday night, and in particular to our communication about the EOC. Obviously, there were a lot of calls going on. I believe in the 24-hour period, the EOC took over almost 3,700 calls in reference to the storm. The largest amount came from the North County precinct all the way to the 4th precinct. They took 196 calls. So they acted, had a great deal of good work done, responded to everything. We missed nothing as far as the calls that were coming in. And again, they did an outstanding job. As Dr. Page mentioned, it's unfortunate that we have people out there with bad ideas when it comes to people suffering from what they've been. And I just want to give those people some type of idea as to how to deal with these scammers because they're out there. I spoke with our people upstairs in General Assignment who handles these particular calls when they come in, and they just gave me some tips that I want to pass along First of all, you have to ensure that the contractor is licensed, okay, that they are bonded and insured. Use online resources such as Better Business Bureau to justify the company. You need to obtain multiple written summaries for the work that's to be completed, and be cautious of very low or very high bids. Obtain a contract outlining the scope of work, payment and schedule, and guarantees. Avoid paying full amounts of the work up front, as it's common for scammers to request full payment and never complete the work. And lastly, remain cautious and identify any red flags that you might see. Always remember, if there's something that doesn't feel right, it probably isn't right, and you probably need to be cautious about who you're talking with. If you have any questions about anything like that, please don't hesitate to call us at area code 314-615-8213. We'd be happy to help you in any way. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I think the importance, part of the recovery now is moving forward, and people are calling us the most right now to ask about leaf and limb pickup. And we're going to have Dave Roan, who's a Chief Information Officer in the Department of Transportation and Public Works, coming up here and talk a little bit about that. But we're asking our residents to break your limbs up as much as possible and get them as close as you can to the curb. And in the unincorporated areas, our folks will be by to pick those up. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah. Good afternoon. The program that Dr. Page announced takes effect today. We ask that residents in unincorporated parts of St. Louis County get your storm debris to the curb. We will not be picking up anything other than vegetative debris, limbs, sticks, things of that nature. We cannot go onto private property, so you'll need to get your debris to the curb so we can pick it up. We'll be bringing dump trucks and front end loaders through for the next 2 weeks to remove the debris, after which it'll be taken to a park and mulched. So we encourage people to take advantage of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome, sir.
In the St. Louis County Department of Human Services, we have a lot of resources that are available for folks who are struggling. There's a storm that devastates your home is certainly an extraordinary example of that. So we have Amber Banner here today, who's the Director of Human Services, to talk about some of the resources that are available through St. Louis County. Amber.
Thank you, Dr. Page. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to just send out my condolences to those who have lost their homes, their pets, their loved ones throughout our great state. Our hearts do go out to you as we work together to recover from our loss through this storm. I want to start off by expressing my deepest level of appreciations, first and foremost, for our county executive, Dr. Sam Page, for his office's leadership, and the American Red Cross for a swift response during this crisis. More specifically, to the EOC, the Police Department, the Department of Parks and Recreation, the Department of Transportation and Public Works, and the Supportive Housing Program through my own Department of Human Services for their long and tireless hours of servitude through a storm that they too were personally impacted by, but ensured the well-being of our community as a whole and put them first. Amazingly, it was because of the quick response of our leaders today that we were able to provide an emergency shelter the night of the storm and throughout the weekend to ensure that those most in need had a safe place to stay. We are humbled and forever grateful for today's servant leaders. The impact of the storm to our communities was massive and devastating, and our community deserves to know that it took a village when this emergency hit us, and we have some truly remarkable leaders right now in St. Louis County that have proven to do whatever it takes when we sound an alarm. That is the power of St. Louis, and we will get through this. On behalf of the Department of Human Services, I give my personal thanks to the leaders we have today for being ever present when our communities needed them most. Part of our role at the Department of Human Services is to provide funding to community-based organizations that deliver essential services like food and shelter, even counseling to our residents. Today, for those still impacted by the recent storm, I urge you to please call United Way's 211, which is just one of many of DHS's funded community-based organizations. By calling 211, individuals can be properly assessed and then connected to essential services that they need, like food banks and meal assistance, mental health, behavioral health services, emergency, warming, and cooling shelters. So utilizing 211 is key. I cannot stress this enough. This system is designed to link individuals to the right services at the right time. So please call 211 if you need any help. I want to emphasize that the Department of Human Services plays a vital role in funding the essential services I just mentioned in our communities, much of which comes from federal grant dollars and is used to respond to our county's greatest needs. Yes, in moments just like this. And we leverage our local community organizations who are experts in their field and rely on our funding in order to dispatch those essential services on the ground. Coordinated systems like 211 ensure that every resident in need has access to critical support. Finally, I'd like to encourage anyone looking for more information on program services provided or funded by the Department of Human Services to please visit our website. Here, we provide a comprehensive list of all of our funded program services available to our residents. And if you are interested in serving our community and are in need of employment, please visit our county's careers webpage. Lastly, if you have any questions, you can give us a call at 314-615-4444. Again, 314-615-4444. We can get you where you need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. Ameren, Missouri has been working diligently over the past few days to address 175,000 customers who were impacted by power outages. We've worked pretty hard to coordinate our communications with Ameren, and I know that they've been working hard to get our power restored. Here today with us is the Director of Regional Operations here for Ameren in Missouri, and he'll be able to explain a little bit about what's happening and what our path forward is here. Landy?
Thank you, Dr. Page. We greatly appreciate the coordination and planning and services for the first responders that has helped us in a partnership with our folks that's out in the field when this devastating storm hit last Friday. As we work to restore all of our customers, as of noon today, we're at 200,000 customers we have restored. We have over 2,000 employees are out in the field today, restoring the remaining 3,000 outages. And our goal is to get most of those restored today by end of the day. And also, some of the most impacted areas where the tornadoes actually touched down, those repairs are a lot more complicated. So it may take a little bit longer, but we're diligently working to get those restored. Our cleanup efforts will continue for the next coming days. As you know, there's a lot of debris out there and we have a lot of work to do for cleaning up those areas. And I would say finally that we understand how important electrical service is to our customers, and we want to make sure that we restore it safely and as quickly as possible. Thank you.
So in summary today, we want to talk about what happened over the weekend, what the response was, and make sure everybody understands the path forward. I want to echo what Chief Gregory said, with a special thanks to our first responders who were out there in some pretty dangerous conditions, saving lives, getting people to safety, and frequently our first responders would come home to their home that was impacted by the storms. So we want to say thanks again to our first responders for what they're doing and working together in such an efficient way to protect our community and help out in a situation like this. And at this point, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
You talked about some federal help earlier. What's the status with FEMA? Are they coming to the area?
Well, initially, the State Emergency Management Agency will come around and do their assessments. They've done that for the past couple of days to get the big picture and get us an estimate of what the damage is. But what we really need is we need people to report the damage through 211 so we can have an accurate accounting. You know, as of Saturday, we had over 500,000 reports of property damage in St. Louis County, so we know this was a devastating event. But we need to be able to document every little thing so we can turn that into FEMA and expect reimbursement.
Hearing from the state office, did they give you an estimate about just how much damage there was?
No, I've heard no numbers yet, damage.
What's the reaction to St. Louis County Council proposing using random settlement funds?
Oh, question is about proposal for settlement funds for storm-related expenses. So what usually happens in a natural disaster like this is we'll access the emergency fund. There's about $7 million in the emergency fund, and then that is reimbursed through FEMA. I think it's a fine idea to have extra funds available, and I appreciate the passion and enthusiasm of Councilwoman Webb to get those funds moving. We do need a partnership from the County Council to have those funds appropriated and have access to them so we can help people. Historically, we've used the emergency funds. Adding funds to that to make sure more available is a fine idea.
I don't know if it's a question for you or for Dave, but we're expecting a lot more severe wind tomorrow as well. Are there concerns with debris being on the roads or in front of people's homes that could cause further damage?
I don't know, Dave, you want to answer that?
I'm not quite following the thrust of the gist of your
If
question.
there's people that haven't finished cleanup yet, or there's debris, whether it's tree limbs or just other debris from this incident, we're expecting more heavy winds, so there are concerns that debris could be picked up and carried, causing further damage.
It's a likely scenario. I mean, it's anything that can be picked up by the wind and blown. I mean, that would qualify. We're dealing with Mother Nature here, and we'll respond as necessary. We can put people in the field 24/7 if necessary to deal with these hazards.
So we'll question about leaf and limbs and generally how fast can we get them picked up, and we're moving our crews as fast as we can, and we'll have them work as long as it's safe. We don't want anybody working more than a 12-hour shift and being in danger to be out on the roads. But if the winds come along and cause secondary damage to what's already been done, then we'll have to reassess and move forward and try and keep people safe. It's going to be important to get tarps over the roofs as soon as you can, and we've got help available for that, volunteers that'll help do that at no cost, and we encourage you to call and ask for help if you need it.
Talking about
An Ameren question.
Ameren.
So we just came from Chesterfield, and some residents out there were saying that they haven't seen Ameren yet, but they've seen tree companies that are coming in. Are you guys working with tree companies? They're going in first before you, or how does that work?
Well, it depends on the type of outage, but normally we have to have the vegetation removed before our crews can access those lines. But keep in mind, just because they don't see the crew in front of their home, some of these service lines and feeder lines are miles apart. So there could potentially be at where the actual incident happened, working on the same feeder line that provides power to that home. Thank you.
talking about that volunteer number that you mentioned that people can call, are there qualifications for it? What do people need to do when they call? Just can you elaborate a little bit more about that line?
No, I don't. The question is about eligibility for assistance for tarping your homes. I don't think there's any criteria. I think we just help people who need help, and folks that don't need help, please recognize that other people do. If you've got it covered, take care of it. If you need help, call our toll-free number, and we have a contract with these folks to help. Any other questions? Okay, thank you for coming out.